It's a gray and dreary day here on State Road 40. My car is filled with gas and I'm filled with excited anticipation as my GPS counts down the miles to today's destination. And here we are, occupying its own little piece of railroad track. This SCL caboose will be our high iron home for the next 3 days. Climbing aboard, I'm impressed to find all the amenities one would expect to find in a nice hotel room, squeezed into the confines of a railroad car. Kitchen space, a bathroom, and ample bedding are only a few of the highlights to be enjoyed. But by far, the most exciting feature of our caboose is not what's inside. It's what's outside. Only one town in America prominently features railroad real estate. Welcome to Folkston, Georgia, a globally recognized railroad Mecca. These 2 tracks of CSX's A-line are teeming with activity. Over 60 CSX road freights a day roar past this unassuming town, bound for the state of Florida in the south, or the monstrous Rice Yard, just 30 minutes north of here. Uh-oh, here comes the welcoming committee. It's been less than 10 minutes since my arrival, and already Folkston is putting on a show. Kicking off the festivities is this Florida-bound autorack train, freshly released from Rice Yard and Waycross. Unit trains are a scarce commodity back home in Greenville, and while not uncommon here in Folkston, I can't help but be delighted by this monstrously uniform road freight. As our first train fades into the distance, the pitter-patter of raindrops replaces the clickety-clack of train wheels on track. Rain was in the forecast. However, the worst of it was not to come until the early morning hours, and with temps in the high 70s, a little bit of foul weather was far more than bearable. While fumbling about in search of my foul weather gear, I spotted a distinctive blinking of ditch lights far down the line. Barely a minute had passed by, and already another train was itching to make an appearance. Did I mention that Folkston was a hot spot? I am a disciple of the zoom lens. It offers perspectives that even the most audacious of train watchers could only dream of. Even though my camera's a safe distance from the tracks, the zoom lens allows for us to get up close and personal with even the fastest of Folkston freight trains. A hotshot, this intermodal is one of many which pass through Folkston during the day. Evidently, it's big enough to warrant a mid-train DPU. These former rarities of the CSX are now a common sight on high-priority and hefty trains. Running the length of downtown, we are once again privileged with an uninterrupted straightaway that demonstrates both the great speed and lengths of these modern intermodal freights. CSX seems to be a more colorful railroad than Norfolk Southern. I've already spotted 4 new shipping companies which I've never seen on an NS intermodal before. The passing of this train reveals that my caboose is not some item of local intrigue. In fact, there are multiple cabooses, lodges, and platforms dotting the tracks that pass through downtown. With a population of less than 5,000, Folkston has done everything in its power to capitalize on its railroad. Of all these efforts, none is more celebrated than the famed Folkston Funnel Railway Platform. Spearheaded and dedicated to the late Cookie Williams, the Folkston Funnel Platform is by far the most valuable asset in town. Thousands of people come from far away each year to watch trains, and Folkston has gone to great lengths to make sure they're comfortable. A railroad scanner broadcasts 24/7, ensuring that no train movement goes unnoticed. Even the decor has been carefully curated to let train watchers know this space is for them. A large bulletin board displays a comprehensive milepost map and a rigorously researched guide to CSX signal indications, both extremely useful tools for rail fans unfamiliar with the region. Unfortunately, it seems that not all the signs are paid the attention they deserve. The platform and picnic area are strategically nestled just feet from the bustling CSX A line. Looking north from the park, one can clearly see the Folkston signal masts. The signals would prove to be an indispensable rail fanning resource throughout my time here, as they, before anything else, indicated the existence of an approaching train. North of the signals, we can see the track split. On the left-hand side, we see the line to Waycross's Rice Yard. On the right-hand side, we see the Jessup Subdivision, an expressway of sorts which bypasses the thoroughly trafficked hustle and bustle of the train yard. Another Folkston bonus, the railway park and adjacent train lodges are located comfortably in between two busy grade crossings. This means that when trains pass through Folkston, their horns are more on than they are off. At Main Street Crossing, one can see firsthand just how technologically reliant railroads are these days. However, despite leaps and bounds made in railroad technology, there is still no harm in labeling which track is which, just in case you get confused. Adjacent to the road, I found this rather melancholy gated crossing lying in the grass. I'm told that this is new equipment patiently waiting to be installed. Those new gates will soon be guarding Main Street, Folkston's center of commerce and leisure. Looking at some storefronts, it's pretty clear what the economic driver of this small town is. Even the street signs could not escape the railroadification of Folkston. You can't get any more dedicated than that. On the other side of Main Street, one will find the Folkston Train Museum. Lodged in the old SCL depot and detailing local and railroad history, this museum is a fan favorite must-see. I was just about to pay a visit when I noticed that the signal mast was indicating a limited clear for track 2. Racing back to the railway park, I set up my shot and patiently awaited the arrival of the train. It didn't take long either. This northbound intermodal wasn't stopping for anything as it raced past the Main Street crossing. Notice how the limited clear signal is knocked down to a stop indication the moment the intermodal passes by. This is the first time I've been able to see this occurrence clearly. Once again, that long, uninterrupted straightaway showed us just how panoramic trains can be. The bright colors of the intermodal containers bared sharp contrast to the ever-darkening sky. Track speed in Folkston is around 60 miles per hour. However, as this train is demonstrating, not every train that passes through achieves such speeds. For whatever reason, dispatch was holding in the reins on this intermodal, limiting its speed to around 35 miles per hour. With the train passed by, I could finally hear the rumbling of my stomach. I was famished. So, not seeing or hearing any approaching trains, I decided to explore Folkston's culinary offerings. Welcome to Los Mariachis, a delightful Mexican restaurant. My burrito supreme was just the fuel needed to power me through the night. The sun had set by the time I finished eating, but this would prove to be no problem. I was delighted to find that the Folkston funnel had installed a large floodlight which illuminated the tracks for nighttime train viewing. While plenty of trains pass by during the daytime hours, the real Folkston funneling, as it's called, happens at nighttime. This is when the majority of 8 Amtrak trains which pass through the town make their appearance, and one of these trains happens to be very special. I couldn't see Auto Train's lights, but I could hear its horn off in the distance. It was coming fast. But it wasn't here yet. Then why was I hearing the crossing gates going down? Well, what I didn't count on was a southbound intermodal. Fortunately, it occupied the number 1 track, meaning that I was now lined up to witness a rare auto train meet. Just as the locomotives of this southbound intermodal passed me by, the light of Auto Train appeared far in the distance. He was coming fast, but I still had just enough time to enjoy these Crowley intermodal containers, a shipper seldom seen on the Greenville district. There are a lot of them too tonight, double and single stack, heading to parts unknown in the state of Florida. But we'll hold off on that, because coming fast is the mighty, world-famous Auto Train. A massive consist of superliners and auto racks zoom by. Auto Train is arguably the highest priority train that passes through Folkston. It's due in Lorton, Virginia early in the morning, and the engineers are using every little bit of track speed to ensure an on-time arrival. It seems I've stumbled upon the evening rush, and with that rush comes my first manifest train of the day, loaded southbound featuring large cuts of what I think are phosphate cars. CSX manifest trains feature long, expansive cuts of singular car types. This is probably done in an effort to simplify the job of yardmasters when it comes time to split trains up and send cars to their respective destinations. The more they are grouped together, the easier they are to sort and send on their way. My goodness, that explanation took so long to suss out that the train is gone and passed us by. The wind and rain was slowly beginning to intensify, and the temperatures were plunging. These were all subtle signs to me that it was probably time to head back towards my caboose for the night. But if you thought the train watching would cease for the evening, I'm afraid you were mistaken. The last thing I intended to do was waste my trackside opportunity. A strategic positioning of the car afforded me some makeshift spotlights, the tracks now illuminated. All I had to do was sit and wait. I was not to wait long either. The distant clanging of crossing bells and the shriek of a train horn told me that Folkston's unique brand of nightlife was alive and well. My car experiment proved to be a rousing success. Every train car was illuminated. Not even those black tanker cars could slip by, as my headlights ensured that even though the sun had gone down, the fun kept rolling through. By the time a second train had rolled around, my girlfriend and I were well into a television show. We almost missed this one, since the train doesn't start blowing for the crossing until it is right on top of us. Fortunately, the rumbling of a Gevo is unmistakable, and I detected it just in time to switch on the car lights and roll the camera. It would seem that our locomotive decided to shine a light right back at us. We even got a little hello over the radio. Train crews are well aware of the Folkston Railroad goings-ons, and they often add fuel to the fun with horn shows and enthusiastic salutations. And with that, I was off to bed. Even the most devoted of rail fans need some semblance of sleep, and if my morning plans were to be executed, I would need plenty of rest. I was awoken at 3:33 a.m. by a very persistent alarm clock. The once bustling Folkston was now shrouded in silence, the tranquility of the night broken only by the soft sounds of rain falling upon tin houses. It was unbelievably peaceful, but I knew the silence would soon be shattered. The ever-illuminated Folkston signal mast showed a medium clear. A train was approaching. Yesterday's prediction of rain had become today's reality. A storm was approaching, resulting in a downpour which sent me scurrying under the train platform's sheltered viewing area. Although the rain was proving to be a formidable foe, it was no match for this nighttime manifest, fearlessly charging forward into the stormy darkness. Loaded with gravel, that's going to be some very wet rock by the time this train crosses the Florida border. Fortunately for the other goods, boxcar roofs or plastic coverings protected them from the worst of the elements. Unfortunately for me, I had no such protection. So the moment this train passed, I retreated to the confines of my car. Even though I was now dry, the situation outside continued to deteriorate. Sheets of rain fell in relentless torrents upon Folkston in what was turning in to be a proper springtime gale. Still, it would take a lot more than just rain to shutter the A-line, so trains kept moving. Although cleared through Folkston, this intermodal is operating at restricted speeds due to the poor visibility caused by the rain. Yet poor visibility or not, it's still powering ahead. This train had a fully illuminated GEVO on its tail end, something I'd never seen before. I'm sure there's a logical explanation for this, but unfortunately, I'm not well versed enough in Folkston railroading to provide one. Still, a fascinating catch on this rainy morning. Gawking at this locomotive aside, it was really raining now, so I threw myself back into the warm confines of my car, and it was a good thing I did too. It seems as if the sky exploded in precipitating fury. The rain pounded on my car roof as the winds howled with rage. This was stormy even for me, so I decided to reluctantly begin to retreat back to the caboose. This, however, was probably a poor decision, as my drive only a few hundred feet in distance was wrought with rainy peril. When I eventually did arrive back home, it was too stormy to make the mad dash indoors. I elected to wait it out in my car, and according to the Weather Channel, this was gonna be a long wait. I awoke to the sound of chirping birds. Soon, that sound was joined by the chirping of a crossing. I had fallen asleep at some point during the storm, and awoken to find the sun rising, birds singing, and a train swiftly approaching. But what's this? I'm startled to see the unmistakable glare of approaching headlights coming from the far side of the line. It's a northbound, and he's moving fast. Sleepy Folkston is now alive with activity as competing trains rush towards each other. Whipping back around, I can now clearly see the original southbound rumbling my way. A meet is imminent, but I gambled that this train would be first. Fortunately, my gamble paid off. The southbound was first to pass. Unfortunately, it was on the track closest to me, meaning that it would block my view of the northbound. There was hope, however. The IS intermodal seemed to be comprised of all single-stack containers. If I lifted my tripod high enough, there was a chance I could capture the northbound pass me by. What a meeting! Two enormous mainline freights have a monumental encounter. This is the essence of Folkston in its purest form, a no doubt about it railroad hotspot. The largest cut of non-unit tank cars I've ever seen concludes our northbound. Uniformity at such large scale is one of the most impressive sights to behold on the railroad. With the manifest clear to Folkston, the dispatch throws another train my way. This time, it's not another road freight, rather it's the southbound auto train in the early stages of its preparation for arrival at Sanford, Florida. The daylight affords us a better view of these enormous superliner sleeper cars. Every imaginable comfort of home can be found tucked away on the vast expanses of this train, from showers to diners to even your car in the back. The auto train has taken care of everything. the record longest revenue passenger train in the world. Autotrain is one of the most luxurious auto-rack trains you'll ever see. I was wondering why the auto train, a normally lightning-fast train, was rapidly slowing down. Then I heard the horn. Amtrak's egregiously late Silver Star cannonballs past us in a desperate attempt to make up over 6 hours of lost time. It may be a thundering nuisance for passengers and crew, but this train's extreme delay resulted in a rare auto train Silver Star meet, making me one of the few people thankful for the delays. Walking back home, I stopped by the Martin Street crossing. Evidently, it knew I was coming, because no sooner had I arrived than it sprang to light, indicating the approaching of the southbound Silver Star. What a morning it has been, but I'm afraid the combination of an early wake-up, a storm, and unexpected trains has rendered me exhausted. I'm off to take a nap before breakfast, and before part 2 of my Folkston adventure. Stay tuned, and until our paths cross again.